Jumps are often the most spectacular part of any rally stage, but you must consider several factors when approaching them. Firstly, since the wheels of the car will not be in contact with the ground for a period of time, you'll be unable to change direction or slow down while airborne. This sounds like an obvious point, but it means that you must ensure that the car leaves the ground with the correct attitude and correct speed in order to land in the correct place. If the road is straight, then it might simply be a case of making sure the car leaves the road while also pointing straight. But if the jump happens to be in the middle of a corner, you will need to ensure that the trajectory of the car will land back on the road. This is particularly important when there are ditches, rocks, trees or other obstacles lining the side of the stage. Weight transfer also plays an important role when approaching a jump. Depending on the nature of the road either side of the jump, there may be a need to slow down or even brake before it. Imagine approaching a jump at high speed, which has a sharp corner immediately after it. You would need to brake before the jump to reduce the speed, which would transfer the weight of the car over the front wheels. In general, it is advisable not to have the car in this attitude as it leaves the ground over a jump, as it would be likely to nosedive and land hard on the front, which could result in damage to the sump, radiator or suspension. Instead, you should brake up to the lip of the jump, but stop braking just before you take off to move the weight back to the centre of the car. In some cars, especially front-wheel drive or other cars that are nose heavy, it may even be prudent to be accelerating as the car leaves the ground. Doing this will transfer the weight to the rear just before takeoff, which will further help prevent the car from nosediving. Remember, even though big jumps at high speeds can be spectacular, taking them at the highest speed possible may not be the quickest way to tackle a jump. The longer a car is airborne, the more it slows down, so you should consider taking a jump at a slightly lower speed to get the wheels back on the ground as soon as possible. Although seemingly innocuous, crests can dramatically impact the stability of the car. Even if the car doesn't leave the ground as it would over a jump, a crest can often cause the car to go light and unload the suspension and tyres, resulting in reduced traction. This is particularly important if the crest is immediately before, during or after a corner, and this should be taken into account when approaching them. The other thing to consider is that depending on their size, they can prevent you from seeing the road ahead. Again, this is particularly important if the crest is immediately before a corner. Imagine approaching a crest which you cannot see over at high speed that is immediately before a slight corner. It is essential that you put the car in the correct place on the road and at the right attitude to take the corner, even though the corner cannot be seen until the last second.